After transmigrating into a novel, I became the daughter of the scheming female antagonist. My CEO father, John, gazed at me with icy disdain. Just like her mother, all lies. Framing others. And playing the victim. Oh really? In kindergarten, I sent a bully sprawling with a slap that left his face swollen. By elementary school, I gave a peeping Tom concussion with a well-aimed baseball bat. Junior high saw me break a gangster's ribs during his shakedown attempt. Come high school, I smiled sweetly while dunking a would-be bully's head into toilet water. The man who'd cleaned up my messes for years sighed, maybe you should just stick to framing people in crocodile tears. As the transmigrated daughter of the original villainess who drugged the male lead and tormented the female lead, my situation differed drastically from the novel's pampered protagonist. The man currently glaring at me with visceral hatred had institutionalized my mother until her suicide, leaving 5-year-old me orphaned. Ceramic shards littered the floor. The housekeeper stammered, "Master." I was cleaning the kitchen when I heard something break. "Perhaps Miss Emily." Her voice trailed off conveniently. Crossing my arms, I stated plainly, "I didn't do it. I've been in my room until coming out for fruit 5 minutes ago." Joan was clearly mopping the living room earlier. My gaze sharpened. "That floor takes 20 minutes to dry. Check the surveillance." Joan blanched. Before she could protest, John's loathing voice cut through. "Emily. Lying through your teeth like your whore mother. Framing staff now? Breathe. Don't grab the nearest shard to carve that contemptuous expression off his face." Smiling with matching derision, I countered, "My mother? Don't forget I share your DNA. John. As the saying goes, poor parenting breeds problem children. Shouldn't most blame fall on you?" His eyes widened at my defiance. "How dare you speak back? Why not?" My tone turned arctic. "Claire gets treated like porcelain while I'm automatically guilty? Both your daughters. Unequal since birth." He sneered. "You'll never compare to Claire. Where another child might crumble." I reached for the Ming vase. The explosion of porcelain sent fragments flying, one slicing Joan's cheek. "My bad." I shrugged as blood trickled. Smashed the vase. Killed the maid. Blew up the planet. Your move. John's palm swung toward my face, halted by Jane's gasp. The female lead stood framed in the doorway with our twin siblings, surveying the wreckage. "John. What's happening?" His fury melted into concern. "Jane. Stay back." The brat broke the antique and attacked Joan. Ignoring him, Jane knelt before me. "Emily. Sweetheart. Did you break the vase?" Tears pooled instantly. "Aunt Jane." I heard crashing from my room. "Daddy won't listen," my voice cracked artfully. He almost hit me." John choked on his rage as I transformed into a trembling victim. Jane's protective arm circled my shoulders while I shot him a smirk over her shoulder, freshly brewed tea of malicious compliance served piping hot. John Wilson seemed about to argue when Jane spoke calmly. "You'll get your turn. Listen to my account first." After she finished, their son Ian piped up in his clear voice. "Dad, did you check the security footage yet?" At the mention of cameras, the nanny's lips trembled as she clutched her sleeves. John exploded. "What's there to check? She obviously did it. Don't let her innocent act fool you." Their daughter Claire tilted her head, interrupting. "But Daddy, you didn't actually see Emily break it. Teacher says we shouldn't accuse people without proof." TSK. Even a kindergartner's more reasonable than this clueless dad. Since transmigrating into this novel, I've observed Jane remains the virtuous heroine kind, principled, and remarkably tolerant despite me being the biological daughter of the story's scheming antagonist. The twins retained their genius-level intellect and emotional maturity. But John? Certified lunatic. What does Jane even see in him? His walnut-sized brain or his mule-headed temper? Under Jane's insistence, John reluctantly pulled up the living room footage. The recording showed the nanny humming while dusting, accidentally elbowing the Ming vase. As it teetered and shattered, she panicked, glanced around the empty room, then scurried to the kitchen with her broom. The timestamp revealed I'd only entered the scene upon hearing the crash, coincidentally bumping into John returning from work. Truth exposed. The nanny fell to her knees, sobbing, "Sir." I panicked and blamed Little Miss. "Please don't fire me." John's knuckles whitened, his controlled rage evident in the vein throbbing at his temple. "Get out." He bit out. "You're done here." As the nanny made show of leaving, I channeled my inner wounded fawn. "But shouldn't she pay for the vase? You bought it at auction for $8 million. Right, Dad?" The number made her collapse. Turning wide eyes to John, I added, "And didn't you teach us to apologize for mistakes? You wrongly accused me." John's face flushed burgundy. The CEO clearly wasn't used to apologizing to a 5-year-old, even under his wife's disapproving glare. Jane scooped me up as I unleashed Hollywood-worthy tears, ruby-rimmed eyes, porcelain cheeks glistening, lips trembling just so. "Emily's heartbroken." "John," she chided. "Fix this." Through gritted teeth, John muttered, "Sorry, Emily. I was wrong." I sniffled magnanimously. "Everyone makes mistakes, Daddy. Just don't jump to conclusions next time." Post-drama. John dropped the remorseful act, sneering, "Clever play, Emily. All in the family." I beamed. He stormed off, no doubt seething. This idiot's been projecting his ex's sins onto me since birth. Manipulative, scheming, attention-seeking labels stuck on a preschooler. Newsflash: I'm not my gold digger birth mother. As for the nanny, John's vindictive streak ensured her punishment extended far beyond financial restitution. Not my circus anymore. 2 days later, a livid John materialized in my kindergarten classroom. "Emily Johnson." Swinging my legs cheerfully, I blinked up at him. "Yes?" The teacher physically interposed as he turned puce. "Mr. Wilson, violence isn't the answer. This requires calm discussion." Ah, the sweet sound of karma's engine revving. But John was still glaring at me viciously, as if I weren't his daughter but his mortal enemy. "Emily, explain what you've done right now." I maintained an innocent expression, feigning ignorance. "Nothing much. Just played a little prank with classmates." The crowd's lips twitched as their gazes swept over several boys with bruised faces, especially the ringleader, a chubby kid whose swollen face was barely recognizable. "You call this a prank?" At that moment, parents of the other children arrived. An elderly woman wailed while clutching the bruised boy. "My precious grandson. Who did this to you? What motherless gutter rat dared lay hands on you?" "Grandma, it was Emily. Emily hit me." The boy burst into fake sobs. The woman released him, scanning the crowd before locking onto me, the only unscathed child her grandson's age. Her wrinkled face twisted with malice. "You're the little bitch called Emily?" The teacher paled at the crude language, realizing the situation was spiraling out of control. I didn't even glance at the hag. This type, stubborn, ignorant, child-spoiling trash, wouldn't listen to reason. My cold stare remained fixed on John. What would he choose this time? Would he side with strangers again and stab me in the back like last time? Or finally stand up for his own flesh and blood? "Filthy brat. I'll teach you manners." The grandmother lunged with claw-like nails aimed at my face. As I calculated the best angle to dodge, a tall figure intercepted her. John's calm baritone carried quiet authority. "Ma'am, that's my daughter you're threatening. I suggest you reconsider assaulting minors in front of their parents." "You." The woman's beady eyes raked over his designer suit. "Your little hellspawn injured my grandson. How dare you lecture me about parenting?" John's expression hardened. "Security footage will determine who instigated this. If your grandson attacked first, Emily merely defended herself. I nearly snorted. Of course he'd protect his precious reputation, couldn't have the Wilson family name tarnished in public. Even if privately he'd lock me in the wine cellar for weeks. Lies. That sneaky bitch isn't hurt at all. The woman shrieked. Play the surveillance footage. John ordered the teacher. The damning video revealed everything, the boys sneaking a caterpillar into my textbook. Me watching coldly from the hallway. Their disappointed faces when I calmly flicked the insect away with a pencil. The escalating harassment, vanishing stationery. Sabotaged chair. Milk cartons ripped open. Then came the glorious moment when I snapped. Holy crap! You think the tiger's a house cat just because it doesn't roar? I'd laughed bitterly before backhanding the ringleader so hard his baby fat jiggled. Truth laid bare. The grandmother faltered, my boy was just teasing. Girls shouldn't hold grudges over little jokes. John's jaw tightened. As you see. Emily merely reciprocated their humor. Superficial injuries heal quickly. The woman collapsed dramatically. Compensation. Medical bills. Or I'll sue. To my horror. John nodded. We'll cover treatment costs. My nails dug into palms. Compensate them? They started it. Since when do victims pay bullies? The crone smirked triumphantly until John's icy smile froze her celebration. Of course we'll pay, after you compensate my daughter's psychological damages from months of bullying. Let's see, $50,000 seems reasonable for trauma affecting her Stanford applications. The crowd gasped. Even the teacher choked on her coffee. Psychological damages? That's extortion. The woman turned purple. John adjusted his platinum cufflinks. We have excellent lawyers. I suggest consulting yours about defamation lawsuits too. You did publicly slander my minor child as a motherless bastard. As the woman sputtered incoherently, I finally met John's gaze. For the first time, I saw something resembling approval in those Arctic eyes, not parental love, but the satisfaction of a wolf seeing its cub make its first kill. Your grandson bullied my daughter Emily first, causing her severe psychological and emotional harm. Shouldn't he compensate for this? But your daughter hit my precious grandson. Didn't I already agree to cover the medical bills? My eye twitched as I watched John, a CEO who routinely handles multi-million-dollar contracts, engage in this absurd tug of war with this petty old woman. Eventually, John, the embodiment of capitalist ruthlessness, lost patience. Your son works at, company name, doesn't he? He snapped. Shall I make one call to get him fired? The old hag immediately backed down. John ushered me into the car. The ride passed in heavy silence. Though he'd taken my side this time. Would I forgive him? Never. I hadn't forgotten how he'd stormed in earlier. Already convinced of my guilt before even hearing the full story. Another one of your messes. He'd accused. I maintained icy indifference, refusing to engage. The moment we got home, I threw myself at Jane, sniffling pitifully. She rubbed my back comfortingly, glaring at John. Emily just went through something traumatic. Instead of comforting her, you give her the cold shoulder? Is this how you parent? John glared at me, torn between fury and helplessness. Humph. Emily, you're just like your mother after all. Though the roles are reversed, she'd play victim to manipulate me and frame my wife. You play victim to manipulate my wife and sabotage me. Truly, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I'd noticed the Wilson children weren't like other kids. Beyond their extraordinary intelligence, they showed remarkable composure about me encroaching on their mother's attention. Most children their age, no matter how mature, fiercely guard their mother's affection, often resenting even biological siblings. Yet here I was, a frequent damsel in distress and their half-sister, receiving minimal hostility. Were the protagonist's children just built different? Nah. Jane's stellar genes deserved all the credit that idiot John contributed nothing. In the living room, Ian sat with a laptop, fingers flying across the keyboard as lines of code appeared and vanished. Noticing my stare, he paused. Want to learn? It's pretty advanced though. You should start with basic hacking fundamentals. No thanks. I grabbed a picture book to hide behind. Though possessing an adult soul, some talents were innate. How could I compete with Ian, the future legendary hacker? Still, curiosity won. What are you working on? Patching Dad's company firewall. Competitors breached their systems last week. His entire IT team failed, so he came begging for my help. I choked back laughter. John really had no shame. My relationship with Jane and the kids thrived. But John and I were oil and water. He'd sneer. I'd undermine him. He'd make snide remarks. I'd pin blame on him. He'd hurl insults. I'd steal his wife. It's been ages since we had a sleepover. Let me tell you a bedtime story, I announced. 3 pairs of eyes lit up as the kids lined up eagerly. Once upon a time, there was a queen with a magic mirror. The plot mattered less than the storyteller ever since John claimed Jane. Even Ian and Claire rarely got to sleep beside their mother. That jealous vinegar-drinking miser. When Jane wasn't looking, the twins shot me approving looks. Well played. Now, Dad must be sleeping all alone in the study. Miserable and pathetic? He. The gentle, melodious voice lulled us to sleep, granting us a peaceful night. Both Ian and Claire Wilson possessed exceptional intelligence. John Wilson wanted them to skip grades in elementary school. Jane Wilson objected. She refused to pressure their children, believing they deserved normal childhoods where they could experience each life stage fully, appreciate the journey, and develop their own aspirations. John disagreed. He argued their gifted children shouldn't waste years in elementary classrooms mismatched to their intellect. Placing them among equally brilliant peers would foster greater academic growth and confidence. Jane, maybe we should ask the kids? John, fine. Though he held strong opinions, their preferences mattered more. Ian and Claire turned to me after hearing their parents' discussion. Being similar in age, we'd typically share the same grade level. Ian, Emily, would you skip grades with us? Claire gazed at me with hopeful eyes before I could respond. John snorted derisively. Her? Skipping grades? She's barely keeping up with her current class. Me, do you get hives if you don't insult me daily? I sighed dramatically. Well, what can I expect from inferior genetic stock? Intelligence is hereditary. After all. John's face flushed crimson. Emily Johnson. Who the hell are you calling stupid? I shrugged, didn't name anyone. Why so defensive? Dad? As our bickering escalated, Jane and the twins smoothly intervened, long accustomed to our feuds. Jane twisted John's ear fiercely. Act your age. Picking fights with your daughter, where's your dignity? Claire pondered, then I won't skip grades either. Ian nodded, same here. John. The CEO launched into frantic persuasion. You two could access elite resources. Emily's just not cut out for, my fists clenched. This idiot. In my past life, I'd been admitted to the nation's top university with full scholarships and competition wins. Despite John's pleas, the twins stubbornly insisted on staying with me. His frustration became my satisfaction. Time slipped through our fingers like sand. We entered elementary school together. Ian became the aloof cool kid. Claire the adorable sweetheart, natural leaders attracting admirers everywhere. Meanwhile, I somehow attracted a creep. When John appeared in the principal's office yet again, his practiced calm barely concealed seething exhaustion. Emily, can't you stay out of trouble for 5 minutes? The twins instantly shielded me, sensing his stormy mood. Claire blurted, it wasn't Emily's fault. Ian added, that jerk tried lifting her skirt. Emily's teeth ground audibly. Emily, is this your reason for giving him a concussion? I admitted openly. Why not? You can't possibly blame me just because I wore a skirt. Can you? If my so-called father dared think if you hadn't worn that skirt, he wouldn't have lifted it. Who the hell told you to dress like that? You deserved it. I guarantee he'd regret it for days. How's that different from thinking dressing like some seductive vixen? You were asking for male attention? I knew I was beautiful. Getting a new dress made me want to flaunt it. Was that wrong? Yet some people always try to drag vibrant roses into the mud to satisfy their own twisted desires. They forget roses have thorns. I won't rest until those thorns draw blood. John clearly realized arguing with me was futile. He turned to swiftly dismantle the other parents' arguments with practiced efficiency. After resolving the matter, he herded us three home. Casually, I asked during the drive, "Mr. Wilson, do you really think it's my fault?" Cigarette smoke swirled around John's profile as he exhaled, his weathered features momentarily obscured. Whose fault else could it be? He sneered. My smile froze. For God's sake. Couldn't you have found a blind spot without cameras? John glared, his jaw twitching. Do you know what I was doing when your homeroom teacher called? Chairing a board meeting. By tonight, my entire company will know my daughter got summoned to school for giving someone a concussion. He laughed bitterly. Your mother's really outdone herself. This is prime revenge material. Fine. I'll accept this excuse. But mark my words, I'll do it again. I finished cheerfully. The pattern was clear. This bastard had always been biased against me. In kindergarten, when I earned gold stars, any idiot could get those. Elementary school straight A reports, basic arithmetic, who can't do that? Winning National Physics Olympiad in middle school, beginner's luck. Yet when Ian and Claire later won national programming and math competitions respectively, John beamed. That's my kids. So proud. This hypocrite could choke on his double standards. Boarding school became my sanctuary, finally escaping John's suffocating presence. You'd think a CEO would live at the office. But no. This man clocked out at 5 p.m. sharp to maul Jane at the doorstep before playing happy family dinners, excluding me. Obviously. Then disappearing into their bedroom. By 8 a.m. next day, he'd bounce into work glowing like some rejuvenated vampire. His assistant once gossiped, pre-Jane, John had been a workaholic robot with chronic ulcers and military precision schedules. Now, the boss actually smiles sometimes. Yeah, smiles fueled by my misery. That evening, walking home with Ian and Claire through an alley, we found ourselves bookended by thugs. The leader sported a skull necklace and scorpion tattoo, assessing us like livestock. A lackey drawled, "Hand over your lunch money, kids." I discreetly activated voice memo. "Come again? Deaf bitch? Empty your pockets." Another snapped. Ian shifted protectively in front of Claire and me, knuckles whitening. My brother wasn't some street brawler. His elegance usually ensured no one dared touch him. Any grievances got settled through icy precision. Never direct confrontation. Sadly, this meant zero combat experience. Time for Big Sister to shine. Ian stated calmly. "Take the money. Let us go." The gang leader smiled like a crocodile. Naturally. Though he said that, his murky eyes were fixed on me and Claire. Claire's face showed no panic, but her tightly clenched sleeves betrayed her nerves. Ian's face darkened, barely containing his anger. Smirking, I stepped out from behind him. "And if we refuse?" The gang leader sneered. "Refuse? Guess you're not leaving then. Boys, let's get M." As the thugs advanced, I tossed my backpack and phone to Ian, excitement gleaming in my eyes. "Protect Claire." "Scared?" I grinned wildly. "Hell no. I'm thrilled." My fingers trembled with anticipation. These human punching bags arrived just in time. After years swallowing rage from that bastard I call father. Finally, live targets. Better yet, I'd recorded everything. Evidence was mine. Look who delivered themselves to me. I laughed. Watch out, John began warning. I became a whirlwind, slamming one scrawny punk to the pavement. Fist already crashing into another's face. A third lunged at me only to eat concrete via judo throw. Spotting an opening, I vaulted off the wall, spinning midair to deliver a flying kick straight into the ringleader's chest. The sickening crunch of ribs was music. Pure bliss. Now sitting in the police station awaiting our parents. I hummed cheerfully while massaging bruised knuckles. These small-time extortionists usually got slaps on the wrist. But today they met me. First time their protection fee scam landed them in ER instead of holding cells. Self-defense. Officer. I stated solemnly. The cop rubbed his temples. John arrived looking thoroughly done. Emily. What now? Some punks tried shaking us down. I persuaded them otherwise. I played the damning recording, handed over. Deaf bitch. Take the money and let us go? Sure. Sweetheart. What if we refuse? Then you're staying. Get M. Thuds. Grunts. Crunching cartilage. I blinked innocently. They started it. Claire peeked from behind Ian. They wanted more than money. Ian's jaw tightened. They were eyeing Emily and Claire like, John's eyes turned arctic. With a gesture, his assistant began making calls. How bad? Ian muttered. Few broken ribs. Missing teeth. I sucked my lollipop. Controlled force. Claire gazed at me starry-eyed. Emily's amazing. Emily let out a slow breath. Her expression hardening. I hadn't seen Ian much after school these past few days. When I asked Claire, I learned John had hired a martial arts coach for Ian. Apparently, that incident with the street thugs had shaken him. The golden boy who'd never tasted failure couldn't tolerate having such vulnerability, being unable to protect his family. That's the spirit. In my previous life, I'd been every parent's dream child. Skipped grades twice in elementary school. Once in middle school. Won gold at the International Physics Olympiad freshman year. Securing early admission to Q University. Like John, I'd grabbed that college offer without hesitation. Spent years grinding in academia until I literally worked myself into this damn novel. Screw that noise. This time, I'm taking it slow. Enjoying every mundane moment of high school. Claire and Ian attended the honors program while I ended up in regular classes. During entrance exams, I'd spiked a fever and passed out during math. Woke up with 10 minutes left, high fever and panic made my brain short-circuit. Managed scribbled answers for multiple choice but bombed the essay questions. Still made the school's cutoff. Just not the honors track. Whatever. High school's just a stepping stone anyway. My fragmented memories of teenage years involved white uniforms and youthful aspirations. That illusion shattered when 5 girls cornered me in the bathroom today. Got something to discuss? I kept my voice neutral. The girl with multiple ear piercings hissed. That's her. Lindsay. The slut making moves on Ian. Another chimed in. Saw her hand him water at the court yesterday. He even let her touch his hand. Lindsay from my class stepped forward. Pretty face twisting. Emily. She spat. You think sharing a last name entitles you to Ian? Pathetic. Oh. They thought I was chasing my own brother. Fantastic. None of your damn business. I snapped. Lindsay's smile turned vicious. Strip her. Let's give this thirsty bitch a proper toilet bath. Her cronies giggled, grabbing a moldy mop. I cracked my knuckles. Funny. Last punks who tried extorting me left with 6 broken ribs. 5 minutes later, porcelain shards glittered across flooded floors. I yanked the toilet-flushing girl's head back. Her face dripping. Hygiene lesson learned? I purred. She choked out sobs. Snot mixing with toilet water. Lindsay scrambled against the wall. Forehead bleeding. My father's the dean. She shrieked. I wiped mop water off my shoes. Tell him to bring band-aids. I was still smiling. Daddy's money? Perfect. My father is John Wilson. My brother is Ian, my sister is Claire. Now, there's no harm letting them know. I watched her eyes widen in horror. Disbelief written across her face, impossible. I've never heard of Ian having an older sister. As for John Wilson, that was a social stratum she could never reach in her lifetime. I pulled a clean tissue from my pocket and meticulously wiped my hands. Believe what you want. I strongly suggest you investigate my family background thoroughly before filing complaints. The following days passed uneventfully. Those girls now watched me with poorly concealed tension and fear. TSK. So easily intimidated. They didn't confront me. But my biological father did. I arched an eyebrow. John, you found out again? I didn't ask any teachers to summon you this time. John looked at me. His eternally irreverent daughter. Emily. Present. I drawled. Sometimes I wish you'd take after your mother, scheming behind the scenes. Playing the victim. Manipulating everyone like chess pieces. I feigned surprise. But you always hated me resembling her. I'm tired. John radiated exhaustion from his very soul. Your mother never left traces. You leave trails for me to clean up. Do you think your little playground scuffle just disappeared? I had the principal suppress it last week. Otherwise, you'd be branded a bully. They started it. I know. But in others' eyes, the unscathed party is always the aggressor. Thank you. I prefer anti-bullying advocate. John clearly deemed further conversation pointless. On my 18th birthday, he handed me a folder. My pupils contracted when I opened it, 13% shares of Wilson Group. John. I closed the folder. Perplexed. You're transferring shares to me? My birth wasn't exactly legitimate. Ian and Claire are the rightful heirs. Power never interested me. Even in this lifetime's casual approach. Academia called louder. If I hadn't loved it passionately, I wouldn't have killed myself over research in my past life. Wilson Group shares held zero appeal. They agreed? Obviously. His tone turned sour. My expression complicated. Ultimately, the CEO decides share distribution. I neither hated nor loved this father. Since childhood, our relationship consisted of mutual barbs and retaliation. But this dynamic existed because I possessed an adult soul. What if I'd truly been a child? A 5-year-old abandoned by her mother and despised by her father. What kind of person would that vulnerable girl become? Drowning in relentless malice? I couldn't imagine. Even now, holding these significant shares, I felt nothing but detached calm. Before adulthood, I defined him as my legal guardian. Nothing more. Now that I was of age, that title expired. So I refused. John remained impassive, having anticipated this. You never liked me. I said coolly. No need for forced gestures. He didn't deny it. But you're still my daughter. I chuckled. A regrettable coincidence. John. Don't lose sleep over it. The cliché of paternal redemption, tearful apologies for past wrongs? That would never happen with John. He was the male lead, arrogant. Exceptional. A golden child destined for greatness. Yet blinded by momentary carelessness. He fell victim to my mother's schemes. Every breakup and reconciliation between him and the female lead bore my mother's fingerprints. He loved the female lead deeply. Cherished Ian and Claire with paternal devotion. Therefore, his genuine dislike for me? Real. The icy indifference he showed me? Undeniable. The visceral disgust he couldn't conceal? All too authentic. Not once in all these years had his contempt wavered. Not even when I matched Ian and Claire's academic achievements stride for stride. I felt no daughterly yearning toward him. We stood on opposite banks of fate's river. destined to remain estranged souls sharing the same surname. When I declined John's corporate shares, Ian and Claire barely raised an eyebrow. Our interactions continued with practiced civility. At university, both Wilson siblings found their storybook partners, the kind of flawless matches only protagonists deserve. My congratulations held no bitterness. I remained unattached, politely declining every suitor's advances while immersing myself in astrophysics research. Family, less and romance-free. I carved fulfillment from equations and starlight. Then came the magazine article that stopped my coffee cup mid-air, live to delight your own soul, not to fulfill others' expectations. The truth resonated, why waste our brief, starlit existence chasing others' approval? We're sovereign constellations, each glowing with distinct brilliance. Our light exists for its own radiant purpose.